Alright guys, today we're going to be making some jade tops in black. I will be stocking this style for my store and for my website. This is the top that I was working on in the previous video that I used 2 triangle tops to create this pattern, and then I went ahead and adjusted the pattern to fix some things like the coverage on the sides and stuff like that. But I will link that video above if you want to check it out and see how I did that. So what you're seeing here is me cutting 2 layers of each size. So the main fabric is going to sandwich 2 layers of lining, and then I'm going to finish it off with another layer of lycra so that it has a cleaner look. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm doing 1 of each, and then I realized that I needed to cut 2 of each. So I do that later on, but yeah, I needed 2 layers per top, and I am doing extra small through extra large, and you can see all my patterns here, and I'm trying to figure out if it will fit. I realized that I needed to refold this fabric so that it actually has less weight, so that's what I just did, and I went ahead and continued cutting more of the sizes. I think this one was the extra large by the looks of it, but yeah, I'm going one by one, cutting all the sizes, and then I went back to cut 2 more layers of each size so I could have 2 tops per size. Honestly, for me, the part or step that takes the most energy for me is actually cutting, because there's so much work involved, just making sure you get all your sizes, all the layers, the lining, the straps, the trims, everything. So I like to do that early on in the morning when I have my most energy, because it takes a lot from me. How about you guys? What's your favorite part of the design process, and what's your least favorite part of the design process? Not gonna lie though, some days I do enjoy the cutting process, and those days are the ones that I have the most patience, or I wake up more relaxed and I'm ready to tackle whatever the day brings, but it's not every day. So yeah, here I am cutting the liner from a piece of lining that you see is odd shaped, but I am trying to use up all my bits and pieces before I roll out more fabric from the roll. So here I am trying to make this piece the most efficient for me, so I could get as much sizes as I can from it. So you'll see me cut and then open it up, cut single layers when I have to, as long as I use up as much of it as possible. At this point, I'm like, why didn't I get my self-healing mat? Because the blade keeps getting stuck, or the liner keeps getting stuck in the ridges that are made through the rotary cutter on this mat. The self-healing mat would have been a lot smoother, but I guess I got lazy. Finally, here we are. I think I am cutting the last piece of liner, the last layer that I needed. I'm counting to see if I have enough, and yep, I have enough. So now it's time to stack my different sizes and head on over to the sewing room. Now we're gonna swap out the threads. This is the great wall of threads, as I call it. My dad built this wall. Every time we move warehouse, he builds this wall. It's the best way to kind of see all of your different colored threads, the woolly nylons, the regular, everything's at a glance, so it's perfect. Now I'm going to my serger, my Juki serger, which I love, tying all the knots for my threads, because that's how I actually swap out the colors. I just make a knot for each one, and then I pull through the sewing machine. But before I do, I use my electric compressed air duster to kind of clean out any excess lint, so that my threads don't get stuck along the way and through any of the channels. Now I'm just pulling out the main needle threads and making sure I pull those out first, and then the bottom ones I just pull. What I like to do is pull with my fingers to loosen the thread with my right hand, and then when you pull through with your left, make sure you're pulling in a backwards motion, because that's the natural direction of the thread, so it doesn't pop. If you do it any other way, you risk it breaking, and you don't want to be threading the machine. There's nothing more annoying than having to thread your machine just because you made a mistake. So now we're finally ready to sew. After all that cutting, all that threading, we're gonna grab our first layer face down, and then we're gonna get our 2 layers of liner. Make sure we match it up as best as we can. I don't personally like to use clips. I don't know, I don't have patience for them. I then grab the other layer, the top layer, and it's gonna be face up. So once you have all your fabric matched up, you can go ahead and sew. What I like to do is do the ends first, because that means that my piece will be more stable. Less movement means more accurate sewing. And then I'm gonna do the top and then the bottom. So yeah, I like to do the ends first, and then you have less loose fabric flopping around. Then you go easy in the direction of the fabric and the curve, so that you don't get any or as many bumps in your actual product. Now here's another point of view, just in case you wanted to see a closer look. You see all the layers, and here I am matching them up before I sew. I'm gonna pinch them with my fingers. At this point, my fingers are like tweezers. I use them as a tool for everything. And they've learned to dance with the fabric depending on what I'm doing. They're, you know, my biggest help. Here we are cutting and going with the flow, and we're done. We're gonna do this for every single size. So yeah, there's 2 of each size, and we're just gonna go ahead and do that. And then once we have all of the pieces sewn up, we're gonna add the elastic. Now here I'm adding the elastic through my metering device, which this machine has. You could purchase that separate and add it to the serger. There's a tension control dial on the top, which I usually don't mess too much with, because I like to keep my tension the same. For tops, you want to have it a little bit tighter, so that, you know, when you actually cover stitch, it becomes distressed and flat but still sturdy. Yeah, I'm adding the elastic to the top and the bottoms of all of these tops. So after doing 2 tops, my thread popped, and it popped halfway, which is not so bad, because I just had to go through 2 or 3 more channels and it was done. But yeah, it's always a little bit annoying when you're already in the flow of things and you have to thread your machine. But yeah, there's a lot of lint. When you sew with a serger, there's always a lot of lint, so you have to constantly be dusting. Side note, when you're doing this, make sure you're not rushing and you go through the proper channels, because if you don't do it correctly, your sewing machine will start sewing wonky and you won't know why for a while, until your thread breaks again and you have to go back and be like, oh my god, I can't believe I've been sewing like this. And it happens to all of us. It's something that happens. Sometimes sewing machines do weird things, and sometimes we do weird things. So now it's time to head on over to the single needle machine. This top actually requires 3 sewing machines. So my serger, my single needle, and the cover stitch. So yeah, 3 sewing machines for 1 single top. Those are things that I also consider when I am designing a new style. It all depends on the simplicity that I want to go for. You could definitely choose how many processes you want to have and then design from there. So here I am adding the little scrunch detail for the centers of the tops, and I use the same technique as I do when I do the scrunch bikini bottoms. You basically attach it to the top, I back stitch back and forth, and then I pull with my hand so I could get that cute little ruffle. And I'm going to repeat this process for all the tops, making sure I mark the center. Now you can mark the centers with a pen or chalk. I like to just fold in half and then get the center from there, and I will do the same for the bottom. And that's pretty much how I get the centers. Now the more I pull, the more of a scrunch I will have, and for this top I do want it to scrunch all the way, so I'm pulling as much as possible. So now we're going to grab all our stuff and move on over to the cover stitch. I'm going to swap out the threads and show you how I cover stitch all these tops. What I like to do is I use a stopper. I don't know if you guys were able to see that, but there's a stopper attachment that you're able to put so that your stitching goes within the tracks, and you set it to the width that you want. I set it to the width of this elastic. And what I do with my hands is with my right hand, I pull downwards, and with my left hand, I pull outwards. The downwards portion with my right hand is so that I could keep the fabric in the tracks of the channel and get a great stitch. With my left hand, I pull outwards so that there's no bumps or lumps in that stitch. And now we're off to the final step in the single needle machine. We're gonna create the sliding tunnels on both sides. You guys have seen me do this countless times with the triangle tops. So it's basically the same thing. I'm gonna be pulling on the bottom layer to even it out to the top layer so I could get a nice even tunnel. I'm gonna insert my label there and secure it. And then when I get to the bottom, I will go back and forth to make sure everything is sewn correctly, and the top as well. Now I'm gonna do the other side so you could see it one more time, how I pull the bottom layer. Just distressing it a little bit as I go to match that top layer. And there you have it, one whole top completely done. And that's what it looks like before you put the strings through it, which reminds me, now we have to go back and cut those straps. What's one more step at this point, right? So here I am, I cut a piece of fabric, the length of the straps that I want. Now I'm gonna fold it up so I could fold it into a 4-layer fold out. And I'm gonna cut the bottom piece to make sure that first piece is completely straight. And for this step, I used the 60mm rotary blade versus my 45mm that I usually use, because when you're cutting through multiple layers of fabric, you want the bigger blade because you could actually use less pressure and it's a lot more helpful. So yeah, here I am using the 60mm and making sure that the first strap is the length that I want or close to it, and then after double checking that, I go ahead and cut the remaining strips of fabric that will go through my binder to make the straps. I gotta tell you, bikini making is not for the weak. Have you seen all these steps? Do you enjoy watching all of these steps, or I don't know, do you think it's too much work? Did you know it was this much work to make something as simple as a bikini top? Let me know in the comments. I would really want to know. But yeah, I love sharing these videos for that reason. When I show it to my husband, he is so impressed with how many steps it takes to make anything. So that's really cool to see that, you know, that appreciation from somebody else who's not used to what I'm used to. Now in this process, I'm actually joining all the straps that I previously cut so that when I go to the binding machine, I don't have to stop for each strap that I cut. It's going to be one long press of the pedal and it's going to be much easier. But I do have to make sure that when I join these pieces, I join them correctly and that they don't get undone. And I also like to cut as close to the stitch as possible so that when those joints go through, or those connections go through the binder, they don't fall apart or they're not as noticeable. So now we're getting to the final part. We're gonna add our attachment to the binder so we can make all our bikini strings. Make sure you tie your knots correctly, because if you pull through all of these threads and they're not, it's gonna be a big headache. And remember to pull the bottom string in the direction that it would naturally go, which is towards the back. Now that everything is threaded correctly and everything is working properly, I'm gonna add my binder attachment. Now this everybody asks me about. This was made locally for us by somebody that makes this custom to whatever size that you need. It has to be made to work with the specific sewing machine that you have. But yeah, so here are my straps that I cut previously, and I'm gonna feed it into this binder attachment. Use my tweezers to pull it through the back, sew a little bit, and now I'm gonna add the elastic through that side little opening that you see there. Make sure I feed it and that it goes right within the fabric through the binder. And now, because we joined all of the straps prior to getting to the binder machine, I can just press the pedal and keep going. And when I pass through any union or any joints, I try to go a little bit slower so that it folds up nicely. And here I am trimming a little bit of that joint. I'll keep going and keep doing this until I run out of fabric, and then cut all of these straps to size and use my loop turner to pull them through the sliding tunnels of those jade tops. And we are done for today.